Ever find yourself thinking, was my drive today actually longer than yesterday? Or maybe, is this new coffee stronger?
Yeah, we do that constantly, don't we? These little comparisons, they're just part of how we process things.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, how English actually, handles these comparisons.
We've got this great transcript from a YouTube video. It really focuses in on comparative adjectives.
Yeah.
Super helpful stuff.
It really is. So our mission basically is to unpack how these comparisons get built. We want you to come away with a clearer idea of the main patterns.
And the video gives some brilliant practical examples. It starts with one that's, well, pretty relatable if you've ever thought about starting something new.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The speaker says, starting a business is easier than you might think, but getting your first customers is harder than any other thing you'll have to do.
Okay, wow. So right there, in one sentence, you get two comparisons kind of setting up the contrast, right?
Precisely. Starting up. Less daunting than expected, apparently. But then getting clients. Whoa, that's the real mountain to climb. Harder than anything else.
It paints a picture. So how does the grammar work there? The video must break that down.
It does. It identifies this core sentence pattern, like a blueprint for comparing things. It goes, verb phrase is comparative adjective, then verb phrase.
Okay, say that again. Verb phrase.
Is comparative adjective.
Then verb phrase. Right. So let's take the first part of that business example. Starting a business is easier than you might think. How does that fit the pattern?
Okay, so starting a business, that's your first verb phrase. The main action word, the verb, is starting.
Got it.
Then you have is, that's just the linking verb, connects the two parts. Then comes easier. That's our comparative adjective. It's comparing the level of easy.
Right, easier than.
Exactly. Than is the crucial connector word. And it connects to the second verb phrase, which is you might think. The verb there is think.
Ah, I see it now. Starting a business, VP1, is easier, compaging, than you might think, VP2. It slots right in.
Perfectly. It's a really consistent structure.
So once you see the pattern, it makes sense. But how do we actually make those comparative adjectives, like turning easy into easier? The video covers that too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And, it mostly depends on the adjective itself specifically, how many syllables it has.
Okay, so let's start simple. One syllable.
For most of those, yeah, it's pretty simple. Just add er. Think old becomes older, or clean becomes cleaner.
Straightforward enough. Old, older. Clean, cleaner. What if the word already ends in an E, like safe? You wouldn't add another E, right?
Fair point. No, you just add the R. So safe becomes safer. Same with nice. It becomes nicer. Just an R.
Okay, that makes sense. Avoids the double E. And what about words like big or hot? Short word, single vowel, single consonant at the end.
Yes. For those, you actually double that final consonant before adding the R. So big turns into bigger, B-I-G-G-E-R.
Right, double the G.
And hot becomes hotter. Double the T, H-O-T-T-E-R.
Okay, seeing the logic now. One syllable, usually add sometimes just R, sometimes double the consonant, then add What about two syllables?
Right, two syllables gets a bit more varied. There's one specific rule to watch for. If the two-syllable word ends in a consonant followed by a Y.
Like easy, from our first example.
Exactly, like easy. You change that Y to an I and then add So E-A-S-Y becomes E-A-S-I-E-R.
Okay. Consonant plus Y becomes I-E-R. Any other common ones like that?
Happy is another classic example. H-A-P-P-Y becomes H-A-P-P-I-E-R. Same pattern.
Happy, happier. Got it. But what about other two-syllable words or, longer ones like interesting or dangerous? You don't say interestinger, do you?
Oh, no, definitely not interestinger. For most other adjectives with two or more syllables, we generally don't change the ending. Instead, we put more or less before the adjective.
Ah, okay, see.
You'd say more crowded or more dangerous or maybe less interesting. You use more or less to show the comparison with those longer words.
That seems much easier than trying to figure out some complicated ending.
It usually is, yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps things simpler for multi-syllable adjectives.
But this being English, I'm guessing there are words that just break all the rules, the exceptions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You always have those, don't you? The video points out a couple of really, really common irregular ones you just have to memorize.
Let me guess.
Good.
You got it. Good doesn't become gooder or more good. It becomes better.
Right. Good, better, and the opposite, bad.
Bad becomes worse. Not badder, not more bad, just worse.
Good, better, bad, worse. Those are definitely ones you just need to know. No real pattern there.
None at all. Just pure memorization for those key ones.
Okay, so we have the core sentence pattern, the rules for forming comparatives based on syllables, and the irregulars. The video then gives more examples, right, to see it all in action.
It does, which is super useful. And they all fit that verb phrase is comparative adjective than verb phrase structure we talked about, like this one. Exercising is more efficient than eating healthy. Okay, let's break that down. Exercising, verb phrase 1, is the link. More efficient, that's our comparative. Using more, because efficient has, what, 3 syllables?
That's right, 3 syllables.
Than the connector. Eating healthy, verb phrase 2. Perfect fit.
See? Works every time. Here's another. Playing tennis is more expensive than jogging.
Okay, playing tennis, VP1, is more expensive, using more, again, for long word, than jogging, VP2. Yep, same pattern.
Exactly. Now here's one of the video flags because it trips people up. Fishing is more fun than you can imagine.
Ah, fun. I've definitely heard people say funner. Is that wrong?
Well, technically, funner isn't standard English, even though fun is just 1 syllable. It's a bit of a quirk. The widely accepted comparative is more fun.
So even though it's short, it acts like a longer word in comparisons. Use more fun.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a common one to remember. And in that sentence, you can imagine, is the second verb phrase.
Good to know about fun. Okay, a couple more examples from the video.
Sure. Learning an instrument is more challenging than you might think.
Right. More challenging, and challenging is long, so use more. Fits.
And playing baseball is more exciting than playing basketball.
More exciting! Again, long word, use more. It seems pretty consistent once you know the syllable rules and the more least part.
It really is. These examples just nail down how that basic sentence structure and the adjective rules work together in real speech.
So, wrapping this up, let's boil it down. What are the absolute key takeaways for you listening right now?
Okay, number 1. Remember that core pattern. Verb phrase is comparative adjective than verb phrase. That's your foundation.
Right, the blueprint.
Number 2, the adjective rules. Short words usually get with those little variations for ease endings or doubling consonants. 2-syllable words ending in get most other longer words use more or less before them.
Got it. Syllable rules and more less. And number 3?
Don't forget the rebels. Good becomes better, bad becomes worse. And stick with more fun, not funner.
Those irregulars are key.
Exactly. Get those patterns and exceptions down. And honestly, expressing comparisons in English becomes, well, a lot easier.
It really clarifies things. So here's a thought to leave you with. Think about any comparison you made today, even a small one. Did you use one of these structures without even realizing it?
And now that you know the rules, how might you say it differently? Or maybe just appreciate the structure behind it? What other bits of English grammar deal with these kinds of degrees or levels? It's all connected.
Fascinating stuff. Keep listening, keep comparing, and join us next time for another deep dive.